This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Good evening, everybody. We are back and welcome to this week's award-winning, I feel like we need to say that every single time now, award-winning long run show, live stream and podcast brought to you by the incredible 40 Runs running community team and, of course, our sponsors, Skechers. So feel free to check out all of the latest trainers and gear, guys, skechers.co.uk, and you can find out where you can grab your latest kicks and snicks for your next upcoming race. But yes, welcome,
I'll tell you an
guys.
interesting story about it. This lady came up to me, evening everybody, came up to me at a park run I did. She was so happy, like almost fell over to show me her Skechers.
Oh.
Brilliant.
What were they? What ones?
Oh, Maxwell 5s. Like,
go on the girl.
You know, admin's ones, the grey and pink ones. She absolutely, the lady loved them, so it was phenomenal. So
out to the lady in the Skechers that absolutely loved them. Wonder if you're listening tonight. But yes, guys, welcome. We're back. It's been a crazy week, I think.
Crazy week, yeah.
Also got another crazy weekend coming up. So before we get into it, let's just kick off where we're at. Chris, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I thought I would sort of underplay, you know, the fact that I've now got my 3rd star on the T-shirt major trail. I didn't want to obviously rub it into some people's toe. But yeah, so we're making progress on that front. You know, just move it a little.
How was the race?
Yeah, if you're listening to this on your podcast, welcome. By the way, as if you're listening to this as you're running along, but we've hit the 3rd star on the T-shirt major. I'm in my Boston finishers top. Is it a finishers top? No, it's just a Boston top.
No, you don't deserve the finishers top.
Right,
so.
you don't just rub it in.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so I've got my 3rd star on the T-shirt World Majors. And I'm feeling good. And I just want to say evening to everybody who's already in the chat. If you are listening to this or watching this even live, Tobe's going to put a link in. And if you're on Facebook, then you can do some stuff on there, which is awesome. And you can then comment away. But we want to hear from you because what are we talking about tonight, Hayden? Oh, he's on mute. He's obviously been on the wine that Lou was having about 2 minutes before we came on here. What is it?
Am I off mute now?
Yeah.
Right. We are talking tonight about the things you do before race day. So obviously very, very,
very important.
Current.
Yeah. So
marathon this weekend.
Get your comments in about that. If you've got any tips for anyone, stick them in the chat thing, and Tobe's going to pick up all those as we go through. Yes, you are, Tobe, because you're not doing anything else. You're not modelling Boston gear like me and Hayden.
I'm modelling Skechers gear. You know the
sponsor,
sponsors, yeah. Oh yeah.
And Jatila's in charge tonight. Yeah. So that's good. So we've all got jobs. Actually, what is my job? Oh, to look good in my Boston kit. So yeah, so load us up.
To look 1 year older.
In the yes.
Oh yes.
There's no talk about.
Oh, this is true. Actually, I was going to say that before we go on.
Where's his picture?
I'm not. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm not sure if I'm not sure how many people follow you on TikTok, actually, Chris. Because if you don't, go onto the 40 Runs and have a look at TikTok. But your video you posted this week, that was brilliant.
Which one was that then? Are we going to play it?
Last one to know, the last one to show I was the last.
I'm now sweating on the copyright I'm going to get from Garth Brooks' manager. That bloke, that was me, by the way.
It wasn't Garth Brooks. It was a Garth Brooks impersonator.
That's me.
Very good.
That is me, Garth Brooks impersonator.
At the Boxborn Honky Tonk.
Thanks very much for the copyright strike on 40 Runs that's coming my way. That's all right. They can mute the song. We don't care. We don't care anymore. That was me, though. I'll be serious. That was me.
My name was.
I actually couldn't believe that for a split second.
How many years ago would that have been? That would have been me.
I need to see the full thing after. Get that.
How old am I now?
I need that quick.
I can't work out how old am I. But it's about, let's say 14 years ago, that was me. What a hero. What a hero. And actually, talking of heroes, right, I'm going to bring us back on point and talk a little bit about running. Because you guys have just come back from Boston. I've read today the man who apparently took a poo while he was doing the Boston Marathon. Jatila, did you see him on course?
I had not noticed this, but that brings me on to one of my points that I want to chat on later on. So he obviously doesn't listen to the podcast because he would have known how to avoid that.
So what I've typed, have you got the picture of the geezer on the, look, did you see this? So on the screen, I put up the bloke doing a poo in somebody's garden in the Boston Marathon. I don't know if you've seen this, but the best thing was, so I wanted to know who that was. So, Toe, show the one I've zoomed in on. Now, it's pixelated, but we've managed to get it unpixelated of the person who actually took the poo in the Boston Marathon. So, if you're from the BAA, you need to listen, and you're listening to this, watch this back. Toe, get it in, the one we've zoomed in on. There you go. That's the culprit who took a number 2 in your garden at the Boston Marathon. Does anyone recognise him?
No. No. He's a good-looking chap. He's a good-looking chap, though.
He's quite old. So there you go. If you're from the Boston Marathon Association, that's your guy who took a number 2 out on course. It's bad, isn't it?
You can't do that. If he gets stripped of that 5th, he's still got a long way to go, because I know for a fact he don't want to do that course again.
No, I know. And he's worried about a copyright. I'm worried about losing a star. It's much worse.
Yeah, but Hayden, the good thing is if you lose your star, you could still do the T-shirt major.
Well, you can't run it again, because I've heard you want to do that, Hayden.
You could do the T-shirt majors like some other pro athletes are doing.
Absolutely not.
I'm not feeling it. I'm not.
I mean, let's move on, because we still have a few more people to get through. So, Hayden, good to see you again, chap. Me and Hayden spent most of the week together this week at Boston. How are you feeling? How are you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad at all, actually. Recovering quite well. Been out in the pool, trying to get this out of my legs. But yeah, not too bad at all. Actually felt a lot worse than I have most of my other marathons I've done. If I'm not going to lie about that. But that was ultimately because of the hills. I'd say Boston was always for me going to be the pinnacle of anything I do running wise. It's just so up there, so iconic for me, and I couldn't wait to do it. And I was excited. I loved absolutely everything about it, apart from one thing. And that was just how tough the course was. And it really, really was. People can talk about the conditions, but you never know. Sunday it could be hammering it down with rain. So you can't really moan about the conditions. You get them at all marathons. But the actual course itself, that was really, really, really
When you
tough.
say it's difficult, what part, we'll come on to you in a minute about the difficult bits, but what do you actually, so mere mortals who will never get out there to run it, what was difficult about it? Was it the hills, or was it, what is it?
Yeah, absolutely purely the hills. The actual surface was like it's almost like a tarmac surface. The surface is absolutely brilliant, and it was a straight line, 26.2 miles in a straight line. No going around corners, no cutting back on yourself. It literally was just the hills. But it wasn't just that it was all uphill. Like, the downhills sound really good, and you think to yourself, I'm about to pick up a bit of speed here. But first of all, you've got to run the downhills properly, otherwise you're going to trash your legs. And not only that, every downhill, you know there's an uphill coming. So at the start, I think the first 4 or 5 miles, everyone says it's predominantly downhill. Yeah, overall it probably is. But you go down, up, down, up. The up might be a little bit less than the down, but you're still going up all the time. And after a while, by the time you get onto that flat surface, your legs are like crying out, thinking, what are you doing to me? And you're like 4 or 5 miles in. So from that perspective, it made it hard. But there were so many other things that counteracted it. The support, honestly, from the first 10 meters of the course. Well, when you're walking down to the start line, you walk through a village and there's houses there, and there's people out having barbecues, and it was teeming it down with rain, and they were cheering you on. And then from the start to the very, very finish line, the support was it was incredible. People talk about London and the support, and that is fantastic. And for those of you who haven't run it or doing it Sunday, you're going to experience that. But honestly, for me personally, Boston, it topped London with the support. Definitely. It was I'll tell you, there's one moment actually. Let me just tell you about this one moment. I think it's about mile 15, 16. Tell you. And I could hear from about a mile away this howling. It was really loud. And I was thinking, what is that about? As I got closer, you go up to this college, and I never knew nothing about it, as other people knew it was coming. And the noise from the students was just absolutely deafening. I honestly think they've been out all night. They hadn't been in bed. They were absolutely smashed. They had so many signs up, all of them, give me a kiss, we want a kiss. Honestly, that's why I slowed down.
I did notice one, it was like, run, your ex is behind you. And I thought that is just hilarious with beer on the side. I thought they got the right idea. I had no clue about that. Apparently it's called the Wellesley Scream Tunnel.
That's it. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It seemed to go on for ages and it was so loud, but that gave you a lift right at the right time. And then you get yourself back on course, you feel like you're good, and then Heartbreak Hill comes up and gives you a good old kick up the bum. So
ruined you. How did you find Heartbreak Hill, Jatila?
You know what? Heartbreak Hill in itself, I didn't realise I'd ran it until I'd got to the top because of how brutal the other ones were. So you expect to have come to mile 16, this massive welcome of hills, and you prepare yourself for those hills, like mentally in your head as you're running along. But the first 16 miles really threw me off track because of how difficult it was. Like Hayden said, they sort of, you hear people say, oh, it's all calm, it's just a little bit rolling up until you get to Newton Hills. I felt like they were the biggest hills I'd ran up prior to getting to Newton, that it was tough. It wasn't rolling. I mean, my idea of rolling was slightly undulating, slightly back down, slightly undulating, slightly back down. No, it definitely wasn't like that. So it took a while for me to get my head around that because I knew that the worst was yet to come. I don't think my race really started until that point. So it was a lot to take in. I do think we need to put this in perspective because, I mean, Hayden, you were disappointed. I don't think you've got anything to be disappointed about at all. And we've spoken at length about this several times this week because there's absolutely nothing to be disappointed at. I think you killed it, considering your age. But Jatila, we've got to give you a shout out because firstly, what was your time? 3:25:27. I still feels weird saying it.
It's amazing, right? How does that compare to previous?
So I ran Manchester last year in 3:27.
And so at Boston, hilly, obviously, and conditions.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I need to give you kudos for is, firstly, if anybody's not following Jatila on Strava, go straight onto Strava and follow her because your splits, right?
I don't know
what happened. Textbook. Hey, to be fair, weren't they?
Yeah,
they were absolutely nailed it in terms of pacing. I think you had one off moment when you went up from 7:20 or whatever it was. You went up to like 7:50, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
but you came straight back on point. It is textbook how you held that with the heels. It just blows my mind.
I mean, yeah, it was so tough. But when I crossed that line and realised, I honestly thought I would struggle coming back down that last few miles because it was still undulating. And I thought, I can't believe I could be on for a PB here. Because obviously I've spoke about this the other week. I had a sort of niggles and paranoia set in and things like that. And I thought, there's just no way that a PB is on the cards. But I'm so happy to even just finish the line feeling fit and healthy. So I went on and I looked at my splits. I've got such that mentality where it's like, I will give it my all. And it really did sort of benefit me in that, despite how scared I was of doing it. So no, I am chuffed. I still don't think it's settled in because I don't actually have my medal.
Well, I'll come on to that in 2 seconds because the other thing, there was two things. Firstly, I wanted to know, did you plan on running it even splits or was you looking to go negative or how was you? Because I think it's important for people maybe who are running Sunday in terms of how am I going to run? What was your mindset about that?
I normally go out with the aim to do a few miles to where I feel comfortable. And, you know, when you sort of want to find that rhythm. So for me, that was to sort of go out at around sort of 8 to 8:10 minute miling. And I think I got a little bit carried away.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, a little bit carried away with the downhill, which I knew about. I completely knew about. But I started to find that pace and it felt good. And I thought, okay, well, let me just see what happens as we go up these first few hills here. And still managed to keep on pace to where I was at, which is where I sort of leveled out and stuck to the pace that I wanted to, maybe a little bit too quick. But then going into the sort of the second half, I felt strong. So I was like, I'm just going to try and push to where I'm at. But normally I naturally do have negative splits because I get nervous. I think when I do my first half, I worry about feeling tired come mile, say 13 or halfway. So I naturally hold off. But then the second half, I sort of say to myself, well, whatever you've got left, let's sort of go for it. So that's how I naturally would run, sort of try and come out of negative splits for me, because I am a nervous runner. I hate to feel like I'm dying at the beginning.
Hayden, what was your, again, for people who are running on Sunday, whether it's Blackpool, whatever, or London, what was your thought process? Did you just want to go out strong, or, you know, how was it? What did you sort of think about?
I definitely, I find all my marathons, I like to go out even pace. I have a target pace in mind. I wanted to run 3:18, and I knew that was, I'm talking in kilometers. I knew that's going to be about 4:41 a kilometer. So I knew if I need to hit the stay between 4:40 and 4:45 a kilometer the whole way. And the first couple of bits were downhill, and I did hold back because everyone was saying, don't go out too fast, don't go out. So I did try and hold back, and it was quite even up to about 27, 28K. And then I know the problem with doing it even splits all the way is what you sometimes can get to a point, and if you don't hit one, then the negativity starts to kick in. And if you don't hit the next one after that, then you start thinking to yourself, what's going on here? What's going wrong? And that's something that I need to maybe think about changing. When I run Berlin, it wasn't as fast as Boston, but I found it so comfortable. And I started off really, really easy. And because I found it so easy at halfway, I then picked it up. So ultimately negative split it. And I found that a lot easier. So going forward, marathon-wise, maybe that's a strategy I need to have a look at. But I've just always found that even split just something to focus on and just keep trying it. And it passes the time, especially when you're working in kilometers as well. You're only looking at 4.5 minutes, 4:40. So I keep looking at the watch thinking, need to speed up a little bit here, need to slow down a bit here. Before I know it, a kilometer's turned over, then the next one. And for me, that's always worked. But on an undulating course or one that's got hills, maybe it isn't the best strategy to take.
Interesting. Now, this is where I wanted to go next. Jatila, talk to us about your medal or lack of it.
Oh, gosh.
Is it actually
makes me cry thinking about it right now. So I very rarely, I haven't really done that many big races where I feel like I would want to get my medal engraved. It's one of those things where I thought, you know what, I've done a great performance, quite happy with the medal, don't really want it engraved, but this one, just for the achievement that I sort of found in myself and the course itself and just where I was as well, being sort of my first proper ever solo international like marathon, I was like, I'm going to get the medal engraved. So I walked myself into where they were doing it. They're doing it at free. Loads of places were doing it free across the 2 days post the marathon. And there was one place that had a massive queue, and I thought, absolutely not. So I found another one, which was you hand your medal in and then you come back sort of 2 hours, 3 hours after. I thought, perfect. Go and get my clobber, go and get some bits, go and grab some grub, and then come back. So I've come back now. It must have been about 3 hours later. I dropped it off at 10 and I got back at about 1. And there was a lovely lady there that I met from Ireland who had just done her first Boston. And I was like, oh, when did you drop your medal in? She was like, oh, about 2 hours ago. And I was like, oh, God, I'm 3 hours. And then her medal was called out. So she took her medal and off she went. And I thought, oh, gosh, what could possibly have gone wrong? So I asked her, I was like, can I just ask where mine is? And she was like, could you just confirm your surname? Gave her my details. And she kind of looked at me and she was like, okay. And then she sort of walked into the back room. At this point, the cat who I was with, she was like, do you want me to stay with you? I was like, no, fine. You go and do your own thing. And then the gentleman called me into the back room and was like, I am really sorry. And instantly my heart just sank. And he was like, I'm really, really sorry. We've engraved your medal with somebody else's name and time. And at first I kind of thought it must have been a joke. And I think because I was on my own, emotions were high, I just burst out in tears in this back room, but didn't want to make everybody else nervous that was waiting for their medal, because it was like, it's one of those things that it can happen. And I was like, what? And he showed me it, and it was some gent called Dan Cleary. So Dan Cleary, if you're listening, I nearly went home with a medal with your name on, completely engraved. And he gave me sort of 2 options. I could either take the medal home with me, and they would send me in like an iTab, so like something that you stick on the medal, and they'll post it to me. And then the other option was they would keep hold of the medal, they would get it buffered out because they didn't have like the buffing equipment there, and they would then post it out to me. And I was like, I need to just sort of go and take a few minutes because I just didn't really know where I was at with like the headspace. So I decided to opt for them to buffer it because I'd rather it just be brand new, fresh. Them do it for me. So yeah, I came home without my medal, which was really, really disheartening. But I mean, the company have been super, super good, to be fair. They understand, and they've already put it out to ship. So it's been super quick, because I know that I did reach out to someone as well in terms of obviously London Marathon, and mentioned my situation on Instagram, and they were like, oh, we can offer like sort of free medal engraving at the I think it was at what store was it? I think it was the store up in London.
Yeah, one of the stores, Sports Direct or
something like
Balance.
that.
I think some of them are doing
like free engraving and framing, and I was like, thank you so much. But by the sounds of it, I should have it by early next week.
I
mean, it's obviously just not. It wasn't great, and I was like, it's just so typical. He was like, you're the only person it's happened to. I was like, oh, wicked.
Serious question though. On the back of that, do you think I should get my hat engraved?
You know what? I'd rather you had the eye tab.
Yeah. Or Tobe, what do you think? Get my shirt engraved?
No, I think no.
No.
You should probably take it off one day, though.
I think, you take it. Yeah, I think engraving it is taking it a bit too far. I can just
deal
with this.
Because we promised, let's give some people who are running the London Marathon on Sunday some shout outs. Thanks to everybody who's been emailing in. We kind of picked some out. We've had some messages as well. So I'm going to apologise now if we've missed you out. That's not my fault. That's admin's fault. She's not here. So it's very easy to blame her. I think she's off trying to get some moody Boston gear. So when she comes back in a few weeks, something missed out. But yeah, so apologies if we've missed any out. We've tried to get as many as we can. Obviously, we're limited on time. So I can't remember who's got them.
I've got one. I can go in with our first one, because I do want to do one from a Lindsay. So Lindsay emailed into us, and thank you for emailing in, Lindsay. I think it's a lovely shout out. So she wants to do a shout out to her husband, who is running the marathon at the weekend. His name is Andy Hilton, and he finally got accepted through the ballot after 10 years of trying. So Andy, your family is so proud of him. She said that you've trained so hard for this, and by doing so, he's also inspired both of his children to get involved in the local 2K race in May. They love you so much, and they hope that your knee holds up for the race. And thank you so much, Lindsay, Izzy, and Oscar. So Andy, you've got a great support system behind you. Best of luck, and I really hope you can send us some photos in of once you've done, and also it's the local 2K as well. We want to know how the kids do. That would be amazing.
Yes, good luck. Hayden, have you got some?
Yeah, I've got some. I can fire off a few here. I've got good luck messages for Pip Griffin, Sam Allen, and all the Watford joggers. Jerry Lizelle, Jason and Brenda, FORDY'S, Samantha Lewis, Dawn Barker, Kieran Thomas, Mark, who's running Blackpool, and obviously out there's a lot of you running this London virtually, so good luck to you as well. Jill Keane, Pink Mick, Ben Hancock's, and the Slimming World 2023 London Marathon team. And Adrian Bolton on the comments just come in with his first marathon on Sunday as well. He's super nervous, so very good luck. I would actually like to do one other separate good luck wish, because part of our community, we have somebody by the name of Carolyn Allen, who has tried to get into London Marathon on so many different occasions. And she isn't the type that will run for charity or pay for a place or do anything else. She always would go with the ballot, go the old school way, the good way. And eventually it's actually paid off. And she got in through our volunteer scheme. We pulled her name out of the hat at the National Running Show live on stage. And she'll be running it for the first time on Sunday. So I wanted to wish her all the best of luck.
Yeah, good shout. I've got to give a shout out to locally to our Hertford runners and our Broxwell runners who are taking part. Obviously, massive love to everybody within 40 runs, but I've got to give a local shout because I see the poor souls every week have to put up with me. So good luck to you guys and anybody, you know, from any of our satellite groups that are taking part. I know some of the guys in London and stuff like that. So wherever you are within the 40 runs club and community, good luck. And actually, good shout out to Louise East as well and Sarah. You know, all our club runners. Good luck to everybody who's taking part then. And finally, the other good luck and well, thank you more than anything else is to our volunteers who are on trucks. I was talking to Alan about this. We're in trucks at Blackheath, and we're going to be taking care of everybody at Blackheath again, apparently, which is an amazing thing to do. So thank you to everybody who's volunteering. I know some people have done it via the portal and they're going to be out on course in other places, but it's amazing. So just, yeah, thanks to all the volunteers who are representing the club and community as well out there. over the weekend.
Amazing.
Can I just do 2 Surrey ones as well? Because
Yeah.
we're all biased. I want to give a big shout out to Mel, wonderful Mel Howes, who's been on the podcast a few times. Her husband, Carl, she had to defer the last couple. So this time he's up for it, he's ready for it, and he's going to do well. And 2 other Surrey satellites with Richard and Angela Maxon. All the best of luck for Sunday.
Yeah, well done, guys. So, yeah, good luck. It doesn't, whether you're doing London or whatever else you're doing, we just wanted to take 5 just to wish you all good luck. And again, thanks to everybody who got in touch to this award-winning podcast that we are. I'll tell you what was amazing. Apparently, one of those people who won the awards was like the BBC or something.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It is mental when you actually, like, because obviously I was away when all this... I was driving along, phone's ringing, admin, press the old red button, driving along, somebody else rings, red button, no interest or anything. I'm away, when I'm busy. And then she rings Nick, I think. and then obviously we found out about it. It's mad. The BBC and like these massive podcasts. So again, I didn't get it. I think I did a video, didn't I? But massive thanks again to everybody who voted for this award-winning podcast. It's amazing. Anyway, right. So
We don't. I can't believe we've gone into 26 minutes. But yeah, well, good luck to everybody that is running London Marathon this weekend. I'm definitely going to be out there cheering and screaming for you guys. I think my tracking list has been the longest it's ever been this year. I feel like we've been very successful with people getting in this year and running. So yeah, best of luck to you guys. But of course, the marathon is coming up very, very soon, guys. You've got 2 days. So I can imagine you're well into your rest period, hydration, doing all of those last minute things that you feel like you can do before heading into that marathon. Take a big old gulp, 40. There we have it. What's in there? That's the question.
High five.
Yeah. But so, yeah, tonight's topic is what do we do before a big race? So, guys, I've had some messages. Get them in the comments as well. We'd want to chat about them. But I feel it is one of those things. Some people only race these big races once a year. This could be your first ever one. What you might want to know, what you want to do, and we're here to hopefully give you some good tips.
Okay, so let's spin round. Let's start with Spigo because he's been worryingly quiet tonight. I have noticed the last few weeks. I don't know whether he's been taking happy pills or other pills. So since he got back from Tokyo, do you remember that scene in Johnny Cash where he got busted bringing those drugs back? That was Tobe on the way back from Heathrow. So he's finished all them up, I think, because this week he's back to his normal self. But Tobe, what do you do before a big race? Doesn't have to be a marathon. It can be, we're talking, 5K, half, whatever, 10K. What's your sort of go-to things, routine that you, apart from eat? But you do it all the time.
Yeah, I do eat. I tend not to run up a massive flight of stairs like I've known some people to. Christopher. I try and just take it a little bit easy, a bit more chilled. That's what I tend to do.
You can't be any more chilled.
You can though.
Oh,
You try and eat some sort of decent carbs from throughout the week. Is what I'd normally go for, rather than just wait until the night before and then eating way too much, because that never actually goes well. And just be a bit more chilled really. Try walk, obviously keeping a bit active, but not too active. That makes sense.
Okay.
Enjoy myself.
For me, the couple of days leading up to it, I always try. I'd like to get a 5K run in either the Friday or the Saturday. Really easy, probably a kilometre or so of it at target pace, but just taking it really easy. My biggest things for me is trying to take my mind off things, because especially if it's your first one as well, or if it's one of the real big ones, like for me going out to Boston, I suppose it's the same as someone doing a first London. It's the same thing. For me, it felt like a first marathon. So there's loads of anxieties. You are nervous. And it doesn't matter how many times you say to people, I'm fine, I've trained for this. It doesn't matter how much confidence you have in yourself. You still got that nagging doubt there and it's still being nervous. And for me, taking my mind off it, really, really helps. Otherwise, you start thinking all sorts of things. So mine is just about, I find if I relax too much and do nothing, I start overthinking things. So I like to keep myself occupied. That might be watching a film. That might be just going for a little walk, not overdoing anything. In Boston, I think the day before the Sunday, I had to walk down to the finish line. It's maybe soak up a bit of the atmosphere. I've also at times looked over my Strava runs, my longest runs, start seeing how things went. I start planning things out in my mind. I have a look online at the route. just occupy yourself, keep yourself busy. Obviously, hydrating. But one of the most important things that people do wrong, sometimes I feel as well, is the day before thinking to yourself, right, this is the day to get all them carbs inside me. The day before, that's a no-go. That really isn't a good idea. You want to get all this stuff done leading up to it. So that Saturday, well, by now, this is going to be too late if you listen to it live, because today's your last day. For me, tomorrow is all about taking it easy and just looking forward to Sunday, really, just being excited about it. There's a couple of people in the comments that just said, they literally got, who was it? It was a couple of people anyway, basically saying they feel like they've got a real bad cold now. And it's just come on sort of like the last 2 days. That's because you're overthinking things. I'm bad for it. And Chris will be the first to testify to it. He was messaging me. I was out in Boston saying, how are you? And I was coming up with all sorts of things that were wrong with me. I've got this. And he didn't even give me any sympathy. He just said, no, you're fine. Don't worry.
I think I gave you 5 tips, didn't I?
Oh, God, the 5 tips.
We can't read them out because most of them are expletives.
Yeah, you need a beep button.
Yeah, so we can't read them out. Otherwise, you know, because I probably actually should sell that as a motivation like book, and I might just put a copy of it and just do 5 pages of those. What did I call it? Pep talk? That was it. We're going to put a book out. It's going to be called Pep Talk, and it's just.
So this is how you got the clobber then. It was that.
Yeah, it's purely. I was just inspiring him as I continue to inspire, you know, Hayden throughout his major haul that he's on, obviously with me and my t-shirts. These pep talks come his way purely from a motivation because he was a bit down. So I am gonna come back, right? I'm gonna ask a question. Jatila, don't let me forget.
Okay.
I probably will.
Don't you worry. Even if you have to.
I've got a question for you, Free, and it involves tomorrow. So Jatila, Mrs. 325. What about your preparation for a big race? Doesn't matter whether it's a marathon or a 10K. What's your sort of go-to tips?
I think with every sort of larger race that I've done, I've always had sort of a plan put in place. And I mean, I've only sort of done the 3 big races, but it's almost like just telling myself that everything that I could possibly do has been done. I really struggle with keeping myself sort of grounded with that, but I really did well this time around with Boston in telling myself that everything that I could possibly do has been done. And it was a massive, massive help knowing that I've gone through sort of injuries, trying not to psych myself up or get myself nervous, but just trusting your training and trusting your taper. And it can be so difficult, but I come across a lot of posts, a lot of sort of comments from different people that have said the exact same thing, to just trust what you've done. Because 2 weeks ago, before your taper, you're absolutely fine. Now, obviously, it's crunch time. It's come to the day, a little bit nervous. You know you've done the work. It's just making sure that you tell yourself you have. So apart from sort of the psychological things behind that, in terms of sort of talking to yourself, like the mentality of it is nerve-wracking and it is hard work, but just trying to keep on control of those key things, like Hayden said, hydration. I actually started doing a lot more hydration sort of tablets and things like that early on in my training because I'm a sucker for drinking water. I really am bad and I need to sort of improve on it, but just keeping myself hydrated. I didn't really take too much water out on the course. I think obviously the weather helped, well, didn't help that much in terms of wanting to sort of chuck more water over you, but I really didn't feel the need to be stopping and grabbing water at most stops.
That's just made me think of something, right? Because the forecast for London this weekend is a little bit iffy at the moment. But if you're running London, all I would say to you, it was the same last year, and then all of a sudden, because obviously I was there, where it turned into like 15 degrees and everyone was melting. So it's changed. Well, I'm not saying that that's going to be the case. What would you say in terms of running in the rain? What helped you? Didn't help you? Did you do anything specifically? You know, in the build up to the race. Let's go carry on, Jatila. Did you do anything specific?
Nothing specific. I think I already. Well, when I knew that it was going to be raining all day, which I didn't know until literally the very morning. I saw a post from a girl who had said, take bin bags to the start, put bin bags sort of in your shoes if you sort of don't like that wet shoe feeling at the beginning of a race. Your feet are obviously going to get wet, but you want to start feeling good, you know. Put bin bags in my shoes so my socks weren't wet when I started. started the race, it felt like a lot more I could warm up into it. But no, I didn't really do anything different. It was obviously really disappointing because everyone was drowned rats. But I think you get to the point where you know that you're going to be towing over that start line. So if you constantly are thinking about these conditions, it's going to play on you. Just think about what you can do in the moment. So for me, it was making sure that I wrapped up warm, took clothes, make sure you wear clothes that you don't care about being thrown away, especially for London, because you obviously have to throw them off before you go, if those are the conditions. Wrap up super warm, still try and get in a good reasonable sort of warm up if that's your thing. Just sort of focus on what you can do, not instead of, oh, it's raining, what am I going to do? You can't do anything. You actually can't do anything. You're not going to say, I'm not running, take me out. So just focus on what you can do as opposed to that. And I do obviously want to just touch on Sholly, who's joined us in the comments there, who said, have you ever felt a niggle during taper which didn't cause problems on the marathon?
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, like definitely. I was sort of had a niggle for around 3 weeks prior to the marathon, but you're at that stage now. In them 3 weeks, you really don't need to worry too much on what you're going to achieve like in your training, because the work, like I said, the work's already been done. So just trust yourself and protect your body leading up to that race, and make a sort of call later on. I was very shocked with my injury. I could feel it for the first few miles, and all of a sudden it almost felt like it disappeared.
I feel a bit like so when you hit these awful things where people have bad accidents, car accidents and stuff, and at first I don't feel no pain. Everyone's saying it's because of the adrenaline, and the adrenaline masks all the pain and stuff. I think it's exactly the same with these things. You turn up to the start line, you have, whether you know it or not, you've got so much adrenaline and so much excitement in your body. I think it's diverting your mind to other parts of your body. So even if that niggle is there, and even if it is bad, you won't feel it. You won't, unless it's something really, really bad. You know, it just goes away. It miraculously goes away. And it's easy for people to say it after the race, but honestly, before, I'm the biggest critic for it. Every single marathon, I have something wrong with me leading up to it. And it always goes away. It does.
What about, old boy, the weather for you? I know I saw you wrapped up in your poncho. What else? Anything else that you know, for people who may be worried about the rain, even though it's pointless?
Yeah, I'll tell you what Boston actually done was actually quite good compared to other marathons I've been to. As you get to the start line, because I'm not sure if anyone knows this, so at Boston, you do your bag drop at the finish line, then they bus you nearly an hour to the start line. You get on these like school buses. So it's a long way away, and you can't take all your clobber with you or anything because you drop your bag drop. So people taking old clothes, like Jatilla said, and I took a poncho because I knew it was going to rain. But then when you get to the start line, they've got these big marquees everywhere, and these marquees are massive, and they've got the sides on them as well. So you can stay dry, which is really good. But then as soon as you come out there and walk the start line, yeah, you're right, it started to absolutely hammer it down. And I think you have to have that mentality where you think to yourself, do you know what? There's absolutely nothing you can do about this. It doesn't matter how clever you are, how much money you've got, how fit you are, how fast you are. It makes no difference. You can't do anything about this situation. So just get on with it.
Cowboy up.
Cowboy up. I always wear a cap. So that obviously that's something that I know if it's going to rain, my face is going to be okay, because there's nothing worse than having that rain in your eyes and keep constantly wiping your eyes. Apart from that, if you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt and stuff, you're never going to feel cold. I don't think once you get running, it's not much can really drown you and get you wet. The rain shouldn't really do anything to you.
It's a good point, actually, Hayden, because in London, because Toby and I sat there when we did London, whenever it was, we went into the changing rooms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not massive like you guys had in Boston, but they're the ones in the Red Start are all right.
Yeah.
I think they might have made them smaller because COVID. And hopefully this year they've made it bigger again, because I remember one year I did it. We went in there. It was massive. It was like a big tent thing, and people were sitting in there. It wasn't raining that day, but it is a good point to seek those out if they are there on race day in the village. It's worth going out and hunting them out, because the chances are, there's going to be room in there for you. Just take a black bag to sit on. That's the thing. Just take a black sack to and then lean up against the tent or whatever, and just try and stay warm and try and stay dry in there. If it is what they say it is, again, who knows what it's going to be like on Sunday? I've got absolutely no idea. I don't think anybody does at the moment. I don't think the weather people do.
They really don't. 2 weeks ago, it was meant to be too hot. So
this is the thing. They were saying it's going to be 20 degrees, wasn't it?
20 degrees and sunny, people were sort of reacting on what their race plan was going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose
Who knows? And again, I think the key message from that is you can't do nothing about it.
No.
So you've got, unless you don't want to run.
No, absolutely. And I find like if you know it's going to be really hot, like you said, you can adjust your race. You can make plans. It's like that year that you guys done it when it was like ridiculously hot. You knew before the start that it was going to be like that. So everyone pulled back their targets, and you know what to do. When it comes to the rain, you don't adjust your plan. Don't adjust your targets. It is going to make no difference to you, apart from the fact that you're going to run through a couple of puddles. Apart from that, unless you're doing a trail one and it's going to be muddy and stuff, that's completely different. But on the roads and these big ones in London, Boston, etc., the rain actually, even as a pain, it's not going to make any difference. And don't adjust your plan. Go for what you've trained for.
Yeah. All right. I've got. There is a question that I've been keeping an eye on that we're going to come back to, and it's from Ian Payton type. So make sure you keep an eye on that one because it's about playlists and stuff. So we're going to come on to have a bit of fun with that at the end. But I've got a question for you. So so I haven't been feeling it this week. And I spoke to Hayden about this because I've not been really feeling it. Everything's been, you know, when you get those weeks a bit sluggish and you're out of routine, you haven't got the endorphins keeping you, up. You feel tired because you're getting more sleep than normal and all this sort of stuff. And I've just not felt marathon ready this week, right? Which is normal. This is not abnormal what I'm saying is happening. Well, I hope it's not. So I last run on Wednesday. Normally, I would go out and do a park run or something tomorrow. Now, I can't because I'm being father of the year and helping out at home. Get that in. Poor kids. But so tomorrow, do I go out and do a cheeky little 3 miles or not? So, Jatila, what do you reckon?
I would say yes. I think personally, if you don't know what you're going to feel like on race day for starters, let's just say sort of you don't know what you're going to feel like. You could do.
I'm worried about feeling sluggish.
Yeah, you could do a run or you could not. If you go out tomorrow and if you've had a sluggish week for starters, you've now got it in your head that you've had a sluggish week and that run tomorrow is also going to be sluggish. You've automatically put something in your head, which means you don't want to go out. You're going to feel sluggish. It's not for you. Whereas, you know what, if you go out tomorrow and you do a mile down the street, I'm talking literally a mile, run down the street, see how you feel. It can go one of 2 ways, can't it? 50-50. You could either think, you know what, I'm going to continue for another half a mile and then come back, or it's not for me, I'm going to save myself. Try and get a feel for where your body's at, you know? Yeah. Okay. I think use that instead of on race day, because on race day, you're going into that thinking, I'm sluggish. You're going to do a little warm up on Sunday and you're going to naturally think I'm sluggish, which is going to make you run sluggish. Just get out. And if you know it's not for you, just try and get a feel for where your body's at. And then you know how to sort of go into it ahead of
I like it. Toe?
I'll go out. I've always found that if I've done both, but I have gone out and I haven't gone out. And I always find if I do sort of 5K the day before, just gentle and get moving, I tend to run better the following day. Whether that's a mental thing, it could well be, but either way, it works for me. Okay. So I'll go and do it.
Okay. Hayden? Coach Hayden?
I would say that there's a reason why, and Boston was the epitome of it. There's a reason why all these shakeout runs happen. And they happen, and they're organised by big running groups, by people who are coaches, people that are great runners, and they have shakeout runs the day before for a reason. And for me, that reason is to get them legs turned over and get yourself up for this, get your excitement building, almost get some kind of system. I would say do it early. For me, I'd get it out of the way early. So when you get back then you have got the whole day to relax. But Boston was a clear example. There's 33,000 runners. I'm not exaggerating. I saw at least, Jatila would back me up here, 10, 12,000 people doing shakeout runs on the day before. They were just everywhere. And there has to be a reason why people are doing that. And then 10, 12,000 people, they're all good runners. So I would say go out. As you said, take it easy.
Yeah, okay.
All right. The boost as well. Like I feel like whether you're on your own or whether you're with sort of other people at a shakeout run or a park run, it's just getting the hype going as well. Like you are going to be going on that marathon. So it's going to happen. So get out there, see how you feel. What can you do in those late?
Yeah, I just feel a bit flat at the moment. Don't feel like I'm up for doing 26 miles, I could quite happily sit in front of the TV and like sort of binge watch it. Like
you can do that after you've done your 1.5 miles out and back.
Yeah, yeah, I might do that, or I might do option B, which was what I just said. Let's see. You'll see on Strava what I do, because that's the thing, isn't it? That's just the way we roll. What I would say to everybody, in terms of if this is your first, London, or your first marathon, I just want to overemphasize, because I think it's really important. Please enjoy it. I was chatting to somebody at the what do they call it now? Marathon show, COVID Central, whatever they call it. The thing where you all go along for that complete waste of time.
The Expo.
Yeah, that sustainable place that we all have to go to and get, commute to get our numbers because they can't post them random. Although I have to give some credit, it was really rather painless this year. So fair play to them. I'm being a complete what's it like usual. But in fairness to them, they've done a really good job. The people there were excellent. But sorry, my point was I was chatting. If you're doing your first one, London, I'm talking about now, please enjoy it. Well, don't sort of fly around, whether there's such a thing as flying around a marathon, but don't fly around and miss it. Look up, make sure you are checking out what you're running past, and you're taking in those crowds, and you're listening to the people shouting your name, and you're listening to those people willing you over the line. And when you do see your kids or you see your family, you do stop and say hello, because it doesn't matter about your time. Take that in and make those memories as you run round the streets of London, because it's an epic journey. And that is your finish, of doing it. You've done the hard bleeding work for 16, 18 weeks or whatever you've been doing. And it could be a lifelong ambition. Don't waste it, is what I'm saying. Because I hear so many people who go around and go, oh, yeah, I did London, but I didn't really take it all in. You've got to take it all in. It really is an incredible experience. Rain, sun, wind, whatever it will be, just enjoy it from the moment you get up. The train journey, the walking up to Greenwich Park or whatever you're doing, just enjoy every single moment of it. Talk to people. It's going to be a lot of anxious people there. I was one of those people. That's why I started all this nonsense. But talk to people. There's going to be people like you in a similar situation. So, chat to people and make yourself a little bit more relaxed, because you're all going through the same thing. But please, whatever you do, enjoy it, because it could be the only time you get to do it. Yeah. So, that gentleman who's was it his wife who emailed in and said about, he's been trying for 10 years or 10 times or whatever it is. So, that could be you. So please, whatever you do, enjoy. If I see anybody out on course who's not having as good a time as me, you're going to be in trouble. All right. That's what I'm going to be looking for, is I'm going to be looking for people not having as much fun as me. Toe, what point of the course are you going to be cheering me on so everybody knows where the Speedgoat cheer station is? Where's the Speedgoat cheer station?
Depends on the rain. I mean, if it's raining, probably at home. No, to be honest,
carb-loaded meal.
I've got no idea, to be honest with you. Do you really think I'll know the answer to that question?
No, it's true. But that Speedgoat, be aware, Speedgoat is on course. If you see him, give him a kiss. He likes his face licked. So make sure you lick his face as you're going around. Gisela, are you coming out to cheer everyone on?
Of course. I've been, since finishing Boston, I couldn't focus on anything else. But as soon as I toed that finish line in Boston, the only thing I could think about was being on those sidelines of the London streets on Sunday. I'm so excited. I've got my sort of big microphone air foghorn thing that I'm going to be screaming. I will... So many people on my tracking. I'm going to probably be around just after that mile 21, 22 mark. So I think there's such a big hype around mile 21. I need it continued. So there's no point everyone being at that mile 21. I'm going to be up and down that area the whole time. I'll be screaming for you. If you don't do it, I'll be disappointed.
Are you? I mean, how does it work? Because I know it's busy. So how does the helicopter get into London?
I don't. I just circle above. It's easier.
You circle above.
I've got a camera.
Or are you going to get Jeeves to drive you in?
No, because all the roads are closed. Helicopter's a much better option. I've actually got a wedding to go to tomorrow night, and we are away for the night. So Sunday morning, depending on how things go, I'm going to maybe come straight. We're down in Littlehampton, so Not worked out the logistics how to get up there. But if I do, which hopefully I will, I'll go up to the 4D cheer squad, which is going to be up around about mile 1920 up at Canary Wharf. It's it's on Bank Street. Closest tube I think is Canary Wharf, and there'll be a load of us up there with flags and whistles and shouting out for everyone. So yeah, hopefully I get up there and I'll be able to cheer everyone on. That is.
Are you out, or are you just out?
He's going out.
It's out. This is the problem.
He's out.
This is the problem. But I don't know. Best way to go to a hangover, I suppose. Have 100,000 people screaming.
You've got to be careful at your age. You've got to remember you're not as young as you used to be.
Listen, reserve all this judgment till after Sunday when you finish. Let's see how you feel after it.
Broken. I'm telling you now, broken. But I won't go back to that question. Ty, where's it gone?
It's up in this list somewhere. So.
What? Right, here we go.
That's quite quick.
Now, first question. Hey, was you listening to music in Boston?
No, I'm not convinced that even aftershocks were allowed.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's awkward because I had music on the whole way round.
So, well, not only are the BAA going to be after Hayden for taking that massive dump in that geezer's garden, you're going to get chucked out for wearing your headphones.
Oh my gosh, was they not allowed?
I'm not 100% sure. Definitely normal headphones.
You might get an official email next few days.
So no medal and no result. I might as well not have gone.
And Jenny, we've got a T-shirt. At least I've got out in a T-shirt.
You'll always have the Strava memories, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. It's on Strava. No one really cares. What? Sorry?
Oh, no.
So what was you listening to on your illegal music device?
What music? Right. So I go big. I get real hyped up on music. I don't know what it is. Even throughout my training, if I don't listen to some sort of music that hypes me up, some of my top classics that can go from the top of the end to even sort of like housey music or pop classics that I've heard on the radio that I absolutely love. New songs that I feel like I can sing along to and just get hyped up. So I normally, the night before, I think I've mentioned this before, but I like to download all of my music. I normally use Spotify, and then that means I won't have any issues on the day. Download my music. I like to go hyped. It really gets me going. And then they're all downloaded. If you are a music listener, please make sure that you do download your music as well this weekend before heading to your start line for London, because you do lose signal there. It can be quite difficult. So make sure you download your music beforehand. Music doesn't kick in until about a mile from the start because it's trying to gain back.
There is a playlist. We've got a playlist. I think it's called 40 Runs Marathon Tunes or Marathon Songs or something like that. There's an absolute load of rubbish on there, but there's some real belters. I might have snuck some country on there. Just a heads up, pre-warning. But it's a good one. You'll be going along thinking, oh, yeah, I like that. And all of a sudden, Zach Brown Band comes on. What? What's this? Lovely. Just for you, look. Tobe, what about you? I know you. The problem is for Tobe, he just loves listening to my voice.
No, I normally try to put the headphones on so I don't have to listen to your voice. Doesn't work.
So what do you have on your headphones apart from this award-winning podcast?
I occasionally listen to that, and I always have it. Spotify like picked for you or whatever they are, or random music. I am the worst person in the world with music. I have no clue what bands, what songs, what. I literally don't have a clue, and I literally don't really care. So I just press play, and whatever's there is there. You
don't have a clue about anything you're listening to?
No.
You are the most strangest man I've ever met.
I don't know anything about music.
Oh, this is a good beat. I'll listen to this. As he goes along, 26.2 miles
later. To be honest, there ain't much competition when you're about.
No, that is true. To be fair, I give the boys some credit because he could literally have anything on and I will talk over it. I mean, you've got to feel sorry a bit for Ben and Simon on Sunday. Good thing is they're not listening because they ain't going to have a chance to listen to anything. They're going to have to put up with me. But probably to me to about 16 miles when I get broken. So it's gonna be one of those, isn't it? So that'd be good. I think you need to get on the old 40 Runs playlist. That's a belt of that one. But like Jatila said, you've got to make sure. What are you shaking your head for, Tom?
Oh, I have heard some of that.
It's brilliant. You've got to download it because otherwise you come unstuck. You put your music. You go into that dark moment, don't you, where you need tunes.
Yeah, I mean, with London, I know that I remember with London, I ended up taking my headphones out because the crowds were that amazing that I ended up pausing my music and putting them away because the crowds were just incredible. There are obviously a little bit quiet areas along the course where you feel like you might just need a little pick-me-up, but for most of London, I didn't. Boston was different. I needed them to get up some of them hills. It was brutal, but yeah.
Yeah, I should have had a bit of my Survivor burning heart, and then I'd have been up them hills like a rocket. I'd have got that PB.
I didn't know. Do you listen to your greatest hits? Is that what you listen back to when you listen to music?
You know what, Tobe? You must have read my mind, because to be honest with you, the top of my playlist is Hayden in his band 5. I don't know if anybody's heard of that band, but if you don't, all Hayden's songs are on Spotify. If you just look up, what are you laughing at? You was in that band. You can't deny it. It's on the internet. So look up 5. That's Hayden singing on that. He's not the lead singer, but he's in that band. That's how he made all these millions, and that's why, as I said, he's got his helicopter coming in at the weekend. But I'm just probably going to listen to Hayden just continuously going out, because I think they only made one album with him on it, and then they kicked him out. But I just continuously listen to Hayden singing.
That's all right. I get a penny every time my song's played. So yeah, keep going, mate. I'll earn a bit more money.
What is it?
I don't know. You tell me. You seem to know a lot more about it than what I do.
Attila, I think, to be honest with you, you're going to have to bring this complete and utter madness at some point to a close.
I've got 2 more things that I want to say before we wrap up.
Me too. Go on then. You go.
So first of all, I know obviously we didn't get to touch on it, but last week we obviously were at Manchester. So Manchester, and our very own Wilco, who's been getting a good few amount of shouts out earlier on on the chat further on, he ran a PB. So
yeah, well done, that boy.
Smashing well done to our very own Wilco. Good job. And I know that a couple of weeks ago we answered some people's questions, and we had a great email come in from Chris Pratchett, who gave us a follow-up email. So thank you for sending in your follow-up email, Chris. So he said, "Hi guys, a couple of weeks ago you all spent some time on my question of, is it really necessary to warm up for a marathon? You asked me to report back on what he did and what marathon. He decided to go with half a mile warm up, 20 minutes before the start, slightly quicker than his goal pace, which was 7:50. It was Manchester, and he did 3 hours 27, which was 10 minutes off his PB. Wow. It was absolutely perfect temperature and conditions for a marathon. Thank you, Chris Pratchett." So Chris, well done. Smashed it. Good job. And thank you for the follow-up. It's always nice to hear what you guys have done once you've got your questions in.
Right, Hayden.
Everyone.
I'll give a quick shout out to Dennis Ceramic from the East Midlands Satellite Club. He is running Sunday, so I'll give him a quick shout. And in the comments quickly just now, Blazing Gun. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was Penny, wasn't it? Good luck to the Kenilworth runners running tomorrow in London. And then Lynn's Pins has said, good luck to my buddies at Witham Runners, Lincolnshire, doing the London Marathon. Have a great run and enjoy. So, yeah, enjoy, everyone.
Yeah, and I just wanted, last thing from me is, again, it's just to reiterate, just to make sure, I think I made it clear, right? Just in case you missed that bit, please, whatever you do, have fun. Honestly, just have fun, relax. I've seen some people saying they're a nervous wreck. I'm a nervous wreck. It's natural to be nervous. It's natural to be anxious. It's natural to be all over the place and be emotional, okay? What you're feeling is totally normal, right? And we're all feeling the same. Even, you know, this is going to be whatever it is, marathon I'm doing. You know, I go through the same emotions every time, okay? And it's totally, totally normal. Just relax, enjoy it. Tomorrow, if you can, you know, get out, get your head clear, whether that's go for a walk, cheeky little jog, whatever it is. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it with the food. Don't overdo it with the drink. Hydrate, but do it sensibly, okay? Don't do anything that you've not done through your training. There's no need to start going and drinking buckets of water and eating troughfuls of pasta. It's going to make no difference, okay? Just continue on the path you've been on. And please, whatever you do, just remember to enjoy it, okay? And let us know how you get on. That's the other thing. Right, Jatila, take us out.
It's going to be amazing. So good luck, guys. That takes us to the final, final end to the episode with the team here. Hayden, Fordy, Toby, and myself, Jatila Blake. Good luck to everyone running. We'll be out there screaming for you. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Long Run Show. And yeah, take it away, Tobes. See you later, guys.